All right, guys, so we're going to be installing something called Heroku Tool Belt, but before we do that, we need to create a Git repository, a local repository for our application. Because the way that Heroku works is you package it up with Git and then you push to Heroku. All right, now there's one thing that we need to do in our file structure, and that is create a git ignore file. And what that does is it allows you to specify what folders and files you do not want to deploy. And we don't want to deploy the node modules folder. All right, so we're going to create a new file, and it's going to be called dot. Make sure you put the dot first, git ignore. Okay, and in here we're just going to put in node underscore modules and save, and that's it. It's going to know not to deploy the node modules folder. All right, so now what we need to do is create a Git repository. So let's go ahead and let's clear this out down here. And we're going to say git init. Okay, that's going to initialize a repository. And then what we want to do is add everything to it. Okay, we want to add our whole application, so we're going to say git add dot. Okay, once we do that, we want to commit the files. So we can do that with git commit, and then we just want to do -am, and then we want to put in a comment here. All right, so we'll say initial commit. All right, so everything is now committed. Now what we need to do is install Heroku Tool Belt. So we're going to go and search for Heroku Tool Belt. It's cross-platform, so click on whatever system you're on. I'm on Windows. For Windows, there's actually an installer. I'm on 64-bit, so I'm going to go ahead and download that. All right, so let's open that up. And let's see, we want to keep these checked. That's fine. All right, so that should be all set. Let's click close. And now Heroku Tool Belt should be installed. Now, on Windows, for some reason, Heroku will not run in Git Bash, okay, unless we do some funky stuff with environment variables, and I just don't even want to get into that. So when dealing with Heroku, I'm just going to use the standard command prompt as administrator. All right, so I'm going to just navigate to, let's see, where are my projects, I think, and then, let's see, yep, vidjot, and from here we're going to say Heroku login, and then it's going to ask for your credentials someday. All right, so mine seems to be getting stuck. I'm gonna Control C. Let's try that again. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna enter the email that I registered with, which was support@Traversy Media, password. Okay, so now we're logged in. Now what we want to do is create the application. Okay, make sure you're in your vidjot directory, and we're going to say Heroku create. All right, so what this did is it created an app. Now go to your Heroku dashboard, and I'm going to reload, and you'll see this will match whatever this says. It's floating caverns. Okay, now you want to click on your application here, and you need to add your repository. So if you go to deploy, you'll see this line right here, Heroku git remote, and then the name of your application. So we already did git init. Okay, we actually already did all of this, but we want to add this right here. So I'm going to copy it, and let's go ahead and paste that in. That adds it as a repository. So now we should be able to push to Heroku. So to do that, we say git. Okay, make sure that you already did git add dot and then git commit, all that stuff. And then we should be able to do git push Heroku master. It's going to push the master branch to Heroku. All right, so it looks like everything went okay. Now, if we go back over to our dashboard, you can open it by going to right here, open app. Let's click on that. And there it is. Our application is now live on the internet. You can also go over here and you can type Heroku open, and that'll open it up as well. Now, the domain name is quite ugly, but don't worry about that. You can add a custom domain name if you want. But the important thing is that everything works. So let's go ahead and try it. Now, remember, this is hooked up to the MLab database. Okay, so let's actually go back. It's hooked up to this database, which has no users and no ideas. So we're going to have to register a new user. So let's go and do that. We'll do, let's do traversymedia@gmail, password. All right, let's submit. Okay, you are now registered and logged in. Let's take a look at MLab and let's reload. And there's our users collection. We click on that and there's the user. So we should now be able to log in. Submit, and now we're logged in. Let's try to create an idea. Let's say Heroku crash course, video on how to deploy apps. Submit, there it is. Let's check MLab. We'll go to our database, and we have an ideas collection. Click in that, and we have our Heroku crash course. So our application is now deployed.